Welcome back to a video. Yes, last week we didn't have a video, but today I've got a smashing video for you. I'm currently sitting down, about to eat a pre-workout meal, but today's video isn't going to be a training video. It isn't going to be where I am in my progress. We're going to talk about something that over the weekend I've been stumbling into, and I had a really good conversation with a good mate about how much does it actually cost for you to go enhanced. Because something that we do see is a lot of people going enhanced without realised how much it's going to cost them to look after yourself whilst being enhanced. Is a cost what comes of this, and you need to make sure that you have the financial stability and you have the spare cash in order to afford to take steroids. So today we're going to break it down. We're going to get stuck into a good video, so stick around. I'm going to eat this, I'm going to go work out, and then we're going to get stuck into this. Stick around, hit the fucking like button, drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. It does really help. All right, let's get stuck into the business. Okay, we're back. This is actually the next day. I never got round to doing this yesterday because I got caught up with some programming and some calls and client bits. So today's video, what we're talking about, the subject at hand. As you can see behind me, I've written out a list of what a first person cycle will sort of look like and what will be involved. So this is quite basic sort of stuff. So your first cycle, you're going to be looking anywhere between 250 to 300 milligrams of test. And your cycle is probably going to last anywhere between 15, 16, 18, 20 week cycle. If you're doing 300 milligrams of test, let's say you use a test enanthate. Most test enanthates turn up around about 300 milligrams, or they will turn up at 250, either or. But let's say for this instance, it's 300 milligrams, so you're using a UGL brand. So potentially you're using 300 milligrams of test per week. You're doing a 20-week cycle, so a 10 ml vial is going to last you 10 weeks. So you need 2 vials. So a vial can become anywhere between 20 quid to 30 quid with tests. That's what you're going to see. Potentially you're going to have to pay postage and packaging depending on where you're getting it. So we're looking anywhere between 40 and 60 quid. Your first cycle, you're probably going to be getting it off a mate who's going to stick a fiver on it off you. So you're probably looking more towards that 60 range. So that is going to be a cost that you can get done there and that, which isn't too bad. 60 quid, 20 weeks. You probably spend more money on protein, more money on anything else, on pre-workouts than you do. The cheapest thing here is going to be the test, the actual drugs. It's going to be the cheapest thing. Now, to actually afford to take these things is a different story. We've got to look at your blood test. Your blood test is going to be a big whack of cash that's going to come out, but you're going to do one before you start. You need to see where your levels are, and obviously that's going to help dictate health supplementation as well as potential pharmaceutical health supplementation, and also post. You're going to do it post or after your cycle to sort of make sure that you're okay after your cycle. I mean, once you're very advanced, potentially have done a few cycles, are a competitive bodybuilder, and you're doing preps and off-season, these kinds of things, potential mid-blood cycles would be a really good idea, especially if you're doing 20-week cycle, potential 10, 15 weeks off cycle, and then straight into a prep, where prep cycle is probably going to be more toxic. So getting a blood test in whilst you're on cycle to see where you're at your worst would probably be wise. But for this instance, just going to do before and after. So that can be anywhere between 200 to 250. Potentially what test you get, but the minimal test that you're going to need is a full blood panel that's going to come out anywhere between £100. But then if you don't have anyone to draw your blood for you, you're going to look at about 120, potentially even to 150. And obviously, depending on what test. So this could be a lot higher, because the really good tests, what you would really want, which would be fantastic, could cost you anywhere between 150 to 180, and that's without even having paid to have it drawn out. Your health supplements, and this is where you think, oh, this isn't too bad, but remember, if you're on cycle for 3-4 months, this is going to be 4 different payments. So we're looking at consecutive amount of money coming out. So this is where you need to know that you can afford to take gear before you jump on it. If you can't afford to do this monthly, this at all, right? If you can't afford to do these 3 and these 2 monthly, you do not have a place in taking steroids. You do not have a place in taking this shit. Remember, this costs money to do. Looking after yourself isn't cheap. The fucking gear is cheap. Yeah, your mate who sells a little bit on the sides, right? Cool. He don't give a shit about this, though. He don't give a fuck about your health. Your drug dealer does not give a shit about your health. They will probably tell you that you need to take at least 1.5 mil of test. Not even telling you how much fucking milligrams is in a mil. Because they want you to keep coming back for that 40 to 60 quid. So just make sure that you remember this. Make sure you sort of think who you're getting your information from. Your monthly cost, your health supplements. So let's use Complete Strength, who I'm affiliated with, who I'm sponsored by. They have a product called Health Aid and they have Tudka. Now, if you're going to want to do, you want to use Health Aid, you're going to have to use a little bit more. So probably you have to do about 2 scoops every day. So you're going to go through 2 tubs a month, which is going to equal near enough about £80. And then you're going to need some Tudka on top of that. So that's about £100. Also, you're going to need other health supplements on top of that as well. So you're going to need your omega-3s, high EPA, high DHA1 as well. So you're looking at a little bit more expensive here. So we're getting more towards the 150, the 120, sort of around that area. So to be honest, that's probably that's on the cheap side because we're not accounting for all the other bits. Vitamin D and things like this will probably you get a lot bang for your buck. So they won't be as monthly, but things will be monthly. Will be around it, but it'll be around probably 100 to 150. It's going to cost you a little bit more money than you probably anticipated. Now, depending on your blood work and depending on what you're doing and what your goals are, you're probably going to want to take some other supplements, right? Some other health supplements. Potentially pharmaceutical stuff like your telmisartan, potentially metformin that I've talked about. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. Potentially your blood tests, you could be potentially doing something very silly with your cycle. But for this instance, we won't talk about AIs, we won't talk about anything like that. We'll just talk about if you were going to really try and be protective of your health and think, all right, actually I'm going to take an ARB and actually I'm going to take metformin on top of this because I'm pushing my food and also I want to make sure that I'm looking after myself 110%. So that's going to cost you anywhere between £20 to £40 a month, depending on where you get it from. Potentially someone's adding some money onto it, it's going to cost you a little bit more. So these are the things we need to think about. So the total cost here, if we go from the higher end, is about 470 quid. However, blood tests, you're going to be doing, it's going to be half. So you don't need to spend the extra £100 or £120 or whatever it is that you're going to pay 150 quid for your blood test to get it drawn out, etc. till after your cycle as well. So you've got some time for the paychecks to come in. The first whack, for instance, is going to be around about 300 to 400 quid, which is quite a hefty amount of money to put up front, especially if you're paying for rent, you're paying for everything, you've got mortgage, car, a phone, all these bits and bobs, Sky Sports, fuck it, you never know, yes, fuck it, Sky Sports, Netflix, etc. However, remember these two are monthly, so your 16 to 20 week exposure that you're going to be doing, this is going to come each month. So if you're doing a 20 week or 16 week, you're looking between 4 and 5 months. Yes, what you're going to need to buy each month. So you need to find the money for this each month, which is going to come at around about £160 per month, potentially. All right, it could be a little bit cheaper, could be a little bit more, depending on what health supplements you buy, etc. But to guarantee that you are covered, we're going to be looking between 120 to 160 pounds per month. Now, you need to make sure that you have that to make sure that you look after yourself. If you are looking at listening to this video and thinking that's fucking expensive, but yet you are interested, remember, this is a non-negotiable. Any clients that come to me, if they say that's too expensive, I will say, you need to rethink taking steroids. Really nicely. If I was being very blunt about it, and I was a rude person, I would say you can't afford steroids. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a video that needs to be made and people need to understand. Consultation call for the consultation call. Have you got blood work done? Oh, no, but send them a link to blood work. That's a lot of money. This is expensive, but you're willing to take this. Yeah? Remember, you're doing this, you're putting your body at risk, all right? Granted, there's other things that you do, recreational drugs, but you're putting your body at risk. However, if you want to make sure that you prevent the collateral damage, be prepared to spend the money. And if you really want it, and this is something that you want to do, and you want to be a competitive bodybuilder, you will probably not even think twice about spending this money, because it's an investment into your body and your health, and something that's going to prevent you from having long-term issues and allow you to see things before they happen. I hope this video has been really helpful and probably helps some of you realise that it does cost money to go on cycle, and that it's more than just, you know, what Joe Blow down the gym who's selling his bathtub juice to you for £20 for a bottle of test, and yes, sweet, 40 quid, that's all it's cost you, when actually these need to be put into place. If you are thinking about it, set yourself some cash to the side, all right? Just put some money to the side, just so that you can guarantee to look after yourself. A little bit about myself. When I first started taking gear, when I first started the bits, I was on the skin of my teeth, all right? I was obviously got to pay for my coach. I had to pay for fucking rent. I had to pay for everything. You guys have watched me literally through my whole journey of taking gear. Very much from obviously when I started making YouTube videos. So if you watch me in them, I was paying for all this stuff. I made sure that I paid for it. I didn't have much. Yeah, didn't have new trainers, didn't have new things, barely bought new gym tops, because I needed to pay for these things. And that's why my blood work is where it is now, which I'm very thankful for. And also, I had a coach that wouldn't have let me do this shit without taking the health subs, without getting my blood work done. Very blessed that that's the path I've had. But there's a lot of people out there who, potentially you, who's watching this video, who are not doing this. And you will have issues. You will have problems. And it will happen. You think you're going to get away scot-free? Stop being so fucking stupid. Look after yourself. And if you are thinking about taking gear, and you listen to this and you think, well, that's fucking expensive, potentially you can't afford to take gear. Maybe sacrifice a few things if you really want to. Anyway, let's make this video a little bit more lighthearted. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made you some education here, as well as enjoyed it, and actually learn to understand that majority of your favourite bodybuilders are probably paying this, and potentially bigger guys like myself are paying a lot more. Because we're doing more frequent blood tests, we're taking a lot more health subs, these kinds of things. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Until the next one, get massive.